If that dog barks one more time, I swear, it won't be alive to do it again, Karen whispered, smiling like she was talking about the weather. My stomach dropped, but my thumb stayed steady on the record button. Neighbors froze mid-step. Lawnmowers stopped. Even the wind felt like it paused. This wasn't about noise. This was about control. And Karen lived for control. If you love powerful stories, you don't want to miss this. But before we continue, tell us where you are watching from. It makes us happy to see how far our stories travel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Karen had been targeting me for months, measuring my grass, timing when my trash went out, filing complaints because Max barked at squirrels. But today felt different. Today she looked excited. Max pressed against my leg, tail low. He could feel it too. Karen leaned closer. People like you shouldn't have big dogs. It's dangerous. Things happen. I smiled, slow, calm, deadly calm. Thank you for saying that clearly, I said, lifting my phone slightly. Her smile twitched. You think anyone will believe you? That's when Mr. Alvarez stepped forward, holding a stack of printed emails, shaking his head. Karen, the board voted last night. You're out, effective immediately. The silence was violent. Then, like perfect timing scripted by karma, a police cruiser rolled slowly into the street. Karen laughed nervously. This is harassment. One officer stepped out. Ma'am, we need to talk about multiple complaints, including threats. Her face collapsed. I scratched Max's head. You should have just left my dog alone, Karen. Because this was only the beginning of her worst day. Karen tried to straighten her posture, but her hands were shaking. The confident HOA queen was gone. In her place stood a woman realizing her audience was no longer under her control. Officers, this is ridiculous, she snapped, voice cracking. He's harassing me. That dog is aggressive. Max chose that moment to roll onto his back in the grass, paws in the air, tail wagging like a helicopter. One neighbor snorted, another laughed. The tension cracked. The officer glanced at Max, then back at Karen. Ma'am, we're here because of recorded threats and prior reports. Her eyes shot to me, pure panic, pure hatred. You set me up, she whispered. I tilted my head. No, Karen, I just let you talk. Then Mr. Alvarez cleared his throat. Also, Karen, the board didn't just remove you. She turned slowly. What do you mean? He swallowed. They audited HOA spending. The street went silent again. Karen's face drained so fast it looked painful. That's confidential. Not when funds are missing, he said quietly. One officer stepped forward. Ma'am, we'll need you to come with us for questioning regarding financial complaints filed this morning. This morning? She croaked. That's when her phone buzzed. She looked down and screamed. Her banking app, frozen. Accounts locked pending investigation. Neighbors whispered. Someone pulled out their phone to record. The woman who filmed everyone else was now the show. Karen lunged toward me. You did this! I didn't move. I just held up my phone, still recording. Careful, Karen, I said softly. You're doing it again. And right then, her husband's car pulled into the street, and he looked furious. Karen's husband slammed the car door so hard the whole street jumped. He didn't look confused. He looked done. Karen, he said, voice low, dangerous. Why is the bank calling me about frozen joint accounts? Karen stumbled backward. I can explain. No, he said. You've been saying that for months. Neighbors leaned closer. Phones lifted. The perfect HOA power couple image was cracking in real time. One officer stepped beside him. Sir, we may have some questions for you two, but right now we're speaking with your wife regarding HOA financial complaints and recorded threats. His face changed. Not shock. Disgust. You used HOA money again? He asked. Karen's silence was louder than a confession. Then Mr. Alvarez spoke quietly. Insurance premiums, landscaping contracts, maintenance funds, numbers don't match, Karen, someone gasped. Someone whispered, Oh my God. Karen suddenly pointed at me, shaking. He made me do this. He made me lose control. The officer blinked slowly. Ma'am, he was standing in his driveway. Karen broke, full screaming, crying, makeup streaking. The same woman who fined people for mailbox angles was now sobbing in front of 30 neighbors and 2 officers. Then the final blow landed. Her husband pulled off his wedding ring. I'm done, Karen. The street went dead silent. Karen collapsed onto her knees, whispering, No, no, not like this. I knelt beside Max, rubbing his ears while cameras captured everything. Not revenge, just consequences. And karma had perfect timing. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Karen sat on the curb, mascara streaked, hands shaking, whispering to herself like the world had ended. The officers stood nearby, speaking quietly into radios, giving her space, not out of respect, but because the show was already over. Her husband stood across the street, staring at the ground, like he was trying to erase the last 10 years of his life. Neighbors weren't whispering anymore. They were openly talking, openly recording. The woman who built her power on watching everyone else was now the most watched person in the neighborhood. One officer finally stepped forward. Ma'am, we need you to come with us. Karen didn't fight, didn't argue. She just stood slowly, like gravity itself had gotten heavier. As they walked her past me, she stopped. Her voice was small, broken. It was just a dog. I looked at Max. He wagged his tail, completely unaware he had just ended an empire built on fear. I met her eyes, calm, steady, free. No, I said quietly. It was never about the dog. It was about control, and today she lost all of it. As the police car door closed, the sunset painted the street gold. Kids came back outside. Someone turned music back on. Life restarted like a storm had finally passed. Mr. Alvarez walked over. You okay? I smiled, scratching Max's chin. Yeah, I am. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't destroying someone, it's surviving them, it's staying kind, it's letting truth speak louder than anger ever could. Max licked my hand. I laughed for the first time all day, and for the first time in months. Home finally felt peaceful again. Please like, comment, and subscribe.